Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is your host Thomas Tyree from All Night Podcast. Today, this is going to be episode 61 for you guys. It's going to be a solo episode for you guys. This week, I'm actually going to be doing back-to-back episodes. We're going to be doing an episode tomorrow night as well. Due to the fact that I will be inactive for a week for the first time ever on the podcast, I'm actually giving myself a break. I will be on vacation next week, so I'm going to do back-to-back episodes for you guys this week. This episode, of course, is going to be coming on all four of our platforms: our Instagram account, our Facebook account, our YouTube account, and our Apple Podcast account. So this will be episode 61 for you guys. So we're going to kick things off today, talk about the NFL. I'll be sharing my top 5 players entering a make it or break it season heading into the NFL season this season. So, and it's going to be a pretty good list. I think I made a pretty accurate list for you guys with this topic. But at 5, I have my Dallas Cowboy running back, Ezekiel Elliott, on my list. It's a make it or break it year because he has to prove not only to the Dallas Cowboys organization, but the entire league that he's still that guy at the running back position. In my opinion, and a lot of you guys watching and listening will agree with this statement that I'm about to say in a few moments, Ezekiel Elliott is no longer a top 10 running back in this league. Yes, he's still talented. Yes, he is still a great runner and effective when he has the ball. He's not as explosive as he once was. His rookie days and his first 3-4 years in the NFL, hits have taken a toll on him. I still believe he is in his prime, but he's aging pretty fast at the running back position. Obviously, running backs are an offensive position that does not last long in the NFL. Your good years go behind you after your first 4 to 5 seasons. Unfortunately, I think Ezekiel Elliott is on that path as we speak right now. I don't think he's a top 10 running back in this league at the moment. His numbers are declining each year in rushing and receiving yards. This man was a back-to-back rushing not back-to-back. He is a two-time rushing champion in this league. Obviously, his rookie season has been his best season since he's been in the NFL, nearly having 1,500 yards rushing his rookie year. But ever since the 2016 season, his numbers have declined in the rushing and receiving department. I think that's a big question mark for the Dallas Cowboys since he got that big contract, a $90 million guy that he got that contract back in 2019. So it's really taking a toll on me. I love Zeke, but his numbers are just declining. And Tony Pollard is on his heels, fresh on his heels, after a coming out party, if you want to say, last season. Obviously being the more explosive back for the Dallas Cowboys, running the ball, he's way faster than Ezekiel Elliott, more explosive when he touches the ball. Even in the receiving department, I think he's more talented and more explosive catching the ball. I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas Cowboys lined up Tony Pollard in the slot position come this NFL season. That's how much I think Tony Pollard is good at receiving the ball as well. And Tony Pollard is entering his final year in the Dallas Cowboys contract. So Tony Pollard is going to be auditioning not only for the Dallas Cowboys to show that he could be the true number 1 running back coming for years and years to come in Dallas and replacing him becoming the running back 1, replacing Ezekiel Elliott, but he's going to be putting on an audition for the rest of the NFL. So I think Tony Pollard is going to be fresh on his heels, looking for a contract to be a number 1 running back heading into the 2023 season. This is a spoiler alert. If Ezekiel Elliott cannot get on track and go back to his old days that he once had back in the 2016, 2017, 2018, and even 2019 days, Ezekiel Elliott will no longer be a part of this Dallas Cowboys team heading into the 2023 season. They will either trade him for what they can get because he is still on a massive contract, or they will flat out release him by this time come next NFL season. So Ezekiel Elliott is definitely on a make it or break it season. At 4, we're going to another player in the NFC East, but at the quarterback position. We're going with the New York Giants quarterback, Daniel Jones. Now, I know my co-host, Rob Sarasula, would definitely agree with me if he was here talking with me about this conversation. But Daniel Jones is definitely on a make it or break it year with the New York Giants. Giants are giving him one final chance to prove that he is the starting quarterback, can be the franchise guy for this organization. The Giants also declined his 5th-year option for his rookie contract during the springtime. Obviously, a lot of rookies, when they get that 5th-year option, a lot of teams that they're actually impressed with what they've seen in the first 4 seasons, they pick up that 5th-year option and just take it from there. The New York Giants declined Daniel Jones' 5th-year option, so it's a make it or break it year for Daniel Jones, and he's out of excuses. I understand the New York Giants have had terrible head coaches over the last few years, and coming from a Dallas Cowboys fan, I know how it is when Jason Garrett is your play caller calling the offensive plays and in charge of the offense. It's not easy, but He's out of excuses. He now has a new head coach in Brian Daboll. They upgraded their offensive line, especially drafting Evan Neal early in the 2000 and this draft class. So the O-line has been upgraded. You get a healthy Saquon Barkley back this year to help you with the running game. They have, in my opinion, I think the Giants have a slept-on receiving core with Kenny Golladay, Sterling Shepard, Kadarius Toney, and rookie Waddell Robinson from Kentucky, who is just a clone of Kadarius Toney. So it's going to be interesting to see how this receiving core looks for the Giants. I think there'll be a slept-on receiving core, not just this season, but moving forward. And I think it's time for Daniel Jones to show the world how good of a quarterback he can truly be with Brian Daboll. We've seen Brian Daboll take Josh Allen's game to the next level and help him become a top 5 quarterback in this league and his time with the Buffalo Bills. But now it's time to show why Daniel Jones was drafted 6th overall in the 2019 NFL Draft by the New York Giants, basically being Eli Manning's replacement. That's not working out for this New York Giants organization. So they will gladly draft a quarterback that is loaded with a quarterback draft class that is 10 times better than the draft class that was this season. So they won't hesitate to move on from Daniel Jones after this season. At 3, I have Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield has been on one heck of a story during his NFL career. This man went from being a Heisman Trophy winner in his days and his days in the collegiate level with Oklahoma, a former Heisman Trophy winner, and was the first overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft. And you have to think the Cleveland Browns regret doing that because in that same draft class, you had quarterbacks of Josh Allen, who was drafted way after Baker Mayfield, and Lamar Jackson, who was in that draft class. And they definitely passed on Lamar Jackson. So you have to think the Browns are shooting themselves in the leg and the foot for allowing this to happen. But it was the first overall pick in 2018, and it got traded to the Carolina Panthers a month ago for a 2024 5th-round pick. That's 2 years from now for a 5th-round pick that this guy was a first overall pick, former Heisman Trophy winner. It's been a lot of ups and downs in Baker Mayfield's career so far. Was on a Super Bowl caliber team with the Cleveland Browns. Say what you want about the Cleveland Browns, but they have a lot of talent there. I'm going to talk about them in the final segment a little bit more, but their roster is stacked top to bottom. I think they're a Super Bowl caliber team with a great offensive-minded head coach, and Baker Mayfield failed to take this Cleveland Browns team to the next level in his time with Cleveland. Finds himself in quarterback competition with Sam Darnold, who is also in the same draft class, was drafted 3rd overall by the New York Jets in the 2018 draft. Now that these two guys find themselves competing to be the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers heading into next season. It's a make it or break a year for Baker Mayfield because in year 1, we've seen some flashes of what you can do, and same in year 2. But year 3 was your best year where you won a playoff game, but it wasn't really highlighted by your performance. It was really highlighted by the defense that was played against the Pittsburgh Steelers in that 2020 wildcard game, and the running attack with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. So it wasn't Baker Mayfield that got the Browns that far to the divisional game in 2020 against the Kansas City Chiefs. It was mainly his supporting cast that got them to that, not Baker Mayfield. So the Browns obviously declined his 5th-year option. This is his chance to prove that he's still a starting quarterback in this league. He is set to become a free agent next springtime. So this could be his last chance to not only prove that he is a top caliber quarterback in this league, but to prove that he can still be a starter in this league. There's not a lot of places at the moment that you could go on elsewhere to be a starting quarterback. He's already fighting for a quarterback spot with Carolina. They got a good supporting cast with Christian McCaffrey. When healthy, he's a top 5 running back in this league. They got a good receiving core out there as well with Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, and other weapons. So if and a defense that could be a top 10 unit this year. So if Baker Mayfield does not get it done this year, he's not only going to find himself as a free agent, but he might not find himself as a starting quarterback heading into next year's season. So this is definitely a break it or make it year for Baker Mayfield. At number 2, I have the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins and Tua Tagovaiola. Dolphins gave him countless weapons this NFL offseason to be successful. Obviously, you guys heard me talk about that in last week's episode when I talked about how the Dolphins upgraded their offensive line to give Tua more seconds to drop back in the pocket and throw balls. I'm not talking about 5-yard dump offs. I'm talking about deep balls, medium routes that the receivers can get their hands on. They got Tyreek Hill, who's a top 5 wide receiver in this league. Jalen Waddle, Cedric Wilson. They still got Mike Gesicki at the tight end position. You have a running back committee that any team would die to have, and Chase Edmonds. Robert Mostert and Sony Michel, and you have offensive guy and Mike McDaniels, who was just under the learning tree of offensive genius Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco last year. This guy, Tua Tagovaiola, I loved his game at Alabama, and he was once called a generational talent. And he's now finding himself in a make it or break it year for the Miami Dolphins, fighting for his future with this particular franchise. His draft mates in the 2020 draft class, look at Joe Burrow. Look what he did in his second season. Towards ACL, didn't get to play much in his rookie season, but then came back his sophomore season and went all the way to the Super Bowl with the Cincinnati Bengals. You see Justin Herbert already being labeled as a top 10 quarterback in this National Football League, only heading into his third season. So you see what his draft mates are doing, and you don't think he has anything to prove that he was the guy that was drafted before, picked before Justin Herbert? He has everything to prove this year. And the Miami Dolphins, obviously, they have been caught for their tampering over the last few years. So they have forfeited their 2023 first-round pick. It's going to be hard to move on from Tua Tagovaiola, but I'm saying this right now. I could see Lamar Jackson, if things go south with the Baltimore Ravens, going back home to play for South Beach for the Miami Dolphins. So I think the Dolphins will find a way somehow, some way to move up Tua Tagovaiola if he can't prove he's that guy, or at least get the Dolphins into a wild card spot this year. At number 1, I have another NFC player. Man, this list is full with NFC players, but NFC East players. But at number 1, I have Jalen Hurts, the starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Jalen Hurts is on my make it or break it list because the Eagles have already showed that Jalen Hurts is their guy over the last few years. Obviously, last season, they moved on. At the end of the 2020 season, they moved on for Carson Wentz, trading him out to the Indianapolis Colts. And they fired Doug Peterson, the only head coach that won a Super Bowl for the Philadelphia Eagles franchise. They fired him to give Jalen Hurts a true starting chance to prove that he can be the future quarterback of this franchise. They given him weapons over the last few years. Yes, they draft poorly at the wide receiver position come the draft. They drafted Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson back in the 2020 draft. But they made up for their mistakes, and they drafted Devontae Smith, former Heisman Trophy winner with Alabama last year in the first round. And then this year they came back in the first round and traded their first round pick to Tennessee and got A.J. Brown. So you have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith as your two top wide receivers in this Eagles offense. You still have Dallas Goedert at the tight end position. There's no excuse why Jalen Hurts shouldn't be having success this year with the Philadelphia Eagles. And you can say what you want. Every team is striving to be a Super Bowl champion. And the Eagles' main goal this year is not a Super Bowl. I'm just telling you as a Dallas Cowboys fan, their main goal is to win the NFC East, a division that they would die to have their hands back on. And this is another reason why it's a make it or break it year. Dak Prescott personally owns any team in the NFC East. Whether you're a Washington Commanders fan, whether you're a New York Giants fan, whether you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, Dakota Prescott owns your franchises. He's 25-6 in the division and 7-3 all time against the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, the Philadelphia Eagles team that won a Super Bowl back in 2018, Dak Prescott is still 7-3 against this franchise all time. If Jalen Hurts can not only not win the NFC East, but can't find at least success to get a wild card spot in the NFC this year, the Eagles will not hesitate to move on from Jalen Hurts come next spring, come the NFL draft. They have two first round picks in the 2023 draft, and I guarantee you, with a loaded draft class of quarterbacks next year, they won't hesitate to move on from Jalen Hurts. So that's my top 5 players in a make it or break it year. Again, at 5, Ezekiel Elliott. At 4, Daniel Jones. At 3, Baker Mayfield. At 2, Tua Tagovaiola. And at 1, Jalen Hurts.